To live.
What could be more reprehensible than two old farts? Three old farts featuring Dave and Steven and Greg Shapiro with funny ha-ha.
We are back.
Yeah,
Hey,
I like the intro. It's the only time anybody ever claps when I come on a show. So it's, thank you, Greg, for that.
Yes.
Yes. There's nothing
They're all
wrong.
they're all clapping for you, mate. But it's all new for me.
They gave him a sitting ovation. It was very nice.
Yeah,
So
right.
there you go. Well, Greg, good to see you again. We haven't seen you in a whole month.
Yes, it's been a month. It's been a busy month.
Yes.
And
globally.
I've been traveling. In fact, I'm coming now from my secondary location in France.
So nothing's going to work. All right. So you people on the podcast, good luck. So
yeah.
Does that mean the show's only going to be? I was going to say, is the show only going to be 15 minutes now because you can't work past 15 minutes an hour in France? Is that how that works?
Since they changed the retirement age,
right.
Yeah, I suppose everybody's working a little bit longer these days. They're not happy about it. So
that's what I hear.
I was doing some journey through France yesterday to get here. But yesterday was the 1st of May. And so, May 1st, May Day, there were a lot of protests.
Lots of riots.
And some violence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like the working class took it out against the police, also working class.
Right.
Also have to work till the scandalous age of 64.
Oh my God. I don't know how they're going to, in America, you got to literally work till you're dead. So they better stop complaining. It used to be 65, then it went to 62. And now the way Social Security here works, if you're 62, you get X percent. And then every year you wait up to 70, then you get 70, you get your full boat. So I have a friend who's like 64 and he started to calculate it out. He goes, if I start taking it 64 and live to be whatever, he says, I actually, I'll make more money to this point. Like there's a point where if you outlive it, you should have waited till 70. So I'm like, well, and he doesn't need it. So I'm like, then pick a number. Like, he goes, I can take it now, or I wait to 6 years. And then I beat the system. I'm like, if the system has money, congratulations. So, yeah.
Well, some of the other traveling I was doing was to Chicago. And normally I would say this is like, no one wants to hear about old folks topics like this, retirement.
Right.
But we are the old farts after all. So,
yes. I was in Chicago.
My mom is getting to the point where she needs to have an option. She's independent living, but she needs the option to go to assisted living. And what kind of place do you? I mean, there are places in America where you can. First, I'll talk about an endowment or a trust fund, or turn over all your life savings, and they're like, "We'll handle that for you." It's a grim calculation of, how much do I want to spend per month? How much do I want to economize per month with the expectation that I could live to 100? Or who are we kidding? Let's just have 20 years of really good, lush living.
Well, it's funny because when my mom passed and she was 97 or 98, so we took care of her. But we looked at places where you buy the condo, and then when they die, the condo goes back to the place, right? So it's almost like living in the UK, right? It's like a lease thing. So I was like, so I'm going to give you this much money. I was like, nah, screw it. We have a condo in Palm Beach. We'll just keep her there. It was cheaper for me to have nurses come in and for us to take care of her for the last really 3 years of her life where she couldn't really do much. And I was like, because we figured it out. I'm like, so you want like $275,000 for the condo, but you're going to get to keep when she dies. I get nothing.
Right.
And then you're going to want, and they go, but we feed her and we have this and that. I said, really? So I bumped in, so, you take a tour. So I saw a guy. I said, hey, how's your mom? He goes, it's great. He goes, what's the sales pitch they're telling you? And I tell him. And he says, no. He says, it's you buy the condo. Yes, they give you a nurse. Good luck with that. Like he said, my mom pushes the button. He says, now, if you want a nurse to be with your
Yeah.
mom, then you pay extra. And if you want this, you pay extra. And if she wants to eat in her room, that's okay. If she wants to eat in the cafeteria, it's okay. Like, but there was all these, oh, by the way. So he said, it's going to cost you another 3,000 to 5,000 a month. He said, but they don't tell you that. He said, so when we already bought it, so we're screwed. I said, cool. So I'm like, I saved 275,000. We can get a full-time nurse for basically like X dollars. So she basically lived in a condo where the family was with her and she was happier to, you know what. So there you go. So that was the better option, we thought. So, but but my mom's joke since she was 70, she goes, I'm going to die. I was like, all right. And she'd get sick. She'd go to the hospital. She goes, I could die. I'm like, okay. So when she would say it in her 80s, I'm like, if you could speed the process up because, you keep talking about it. And when she got into her 90s, I go, now this is just a cool joke. You just say this to be funny. So when she finally was passing away, I said, now finally, I said, 27 years later, you've got it right. So, she chuckled and stuff. But yeah, so she lived to be 97. So but we just found it was that easier and cheaper and the quality of life better for us to take care of her at the house.
Yeah. No, that is great.
I mean, at 97, she could still be in U.S. politics.
I was going to say yes. Yep.
Yeah, because what was the joke about Biden?
Biden will be 84 when he
84, and they want him to work. So
well, Strom Thurmond, I think Strom Thurmond was a senator here in the States, and he, I think, died at 101 or 102, and he was in the Senate until he was like 100.
He was
Strom Thurmond. Is that a name?
He's a Southern boy.
It sounded like it sounds more like a deodorant than anything else.
Yeah, Strom
Thurmond on here, guys.
Yeah, he was a Southern boy, and I'm not using boy as disrespectful, but he was a Southern boy, and he remembers I want to say he was around when Lincoln was around. He was that old, but he was he went from literally a racist, and over time he became a little softer, not much, but a little. But it was wild.
Is that now a political category? That to be a soft racist?
Yes, that's called Republicans. Yes, that's a soft racist. That's a Republican now.
Yeah.
So,
Greg, I was going to ask you. Last time we had you on, you were keying yourself up to do some gig about free speech.
Yeah,
how did that go? Right. Did they ban you? Are you banned now from everything in life? Or?
It's I did the Summit for Democracy, indeed, and that was in The Hague. It was a live stream, and I was hired by the Dutch Foreign Ministry, via the American, State Department to perform for this summit. There's a series of summits. It's an initiative of, I guess, the Biden White House to push back against authoritarianism, around the globe. And so every country or a series of countries, I guess, get to host a theme. And this theme was freedom of speech and journalism. And then they wanted an American American living in the Netherlands to comment on the freedom of speech. They said it'll be a live stream. It'll be around the world, except for the United States, because they might want to add in a delay so that they can edit out some of the content or maybe censor some of the content on the freedom of speech.
I was going to say that's a freedom of speech.
Yeah. So they said you can use that in your stand-up comedy, 3 minutes. And I said, I think it'll come up. And so actually, I showed up there and they said, by the way, the U.S. has changed their position now. So someone higher up realized, dudes, we can't host a freedom of speech event and then have a 7-second delay or whatever. Not show it live.
Funny.
Anyway, but so I adapted on the fly. I did my 3 minutes. They had a spoken wordist, they had a cartoonist, and then they had me, stand-up comedian, as three little, breakout entertainment moments throughout the live stream. And
Right.
it was a tough room. They said things like, 2022 was the deadliest year for journalists on record.
Wow.
And I mean, that's including in the Netherlands even, where, there was a controversial, courtroom reporter, sort of gangland type reporter, and he just got popped in the broad daylight. And then there's women in particular, apparently, and then Ukraine, and Russia. So then they're like, and now the comedy. So but it was hard. It was, but there was a live audience, mostly policy people, not known for their huge sense of humor, managed to get laughs. And so I put up that clip on my YouTube channel. I will say that they had students behind me, and the students were told, like, don't laugh.
Oh my God.
They're just sitting there just like, yeah. Anyway, but I had fun doing it. It was an honor.
Is that the reason why you had to rush off to Chicago after that, because you wasn't safe anymore?
Oh golly. Yeah, no, I was just busy. I was busy taking care of my mom and changing my voting address to Wisconsin. So my mom moved to Wisconsin, and
oh wow,
I used to vote in a pretty reliably blue state, pretty reliably blue district, right. But up in Wisconsin, whoa, anything can happen. So working on changing my voting address. That'll be exciting.
Very cool. So now you're going to be an independent.
Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin. My vote is for sale. So I'll have an
I like the way you're thinking. There you go.
2024. I mean, the 2024 U.S. election might well be decided by a state like Wisconsin,
or an insurrection, apparently, because the orange guy still thinks he's president. So it's going to be very interesting to see. And my favorite of news of the week, just so we're going to talk about U.S. politics, was that Ron DeSantis is getting sued by the Walt Disney Company for what? Violating Walt Disney's freedom of speech. And he says that's ridiculous. And then they played every quote that a Republican, including DeSantis, made that said companies are people and they have freedom of speech and you cannot stifle it. And now DeSantis and the state of Florida, pardon my French, are fucked. And I love it. I think it's the funniest thing. Go Mouse. I am very happy that they are suing him and like doing this, because I don't care if you're gay. I don't care what you are. But if everybody knows Disney's the happiest place on the world, and it's not for kids, okay? So when Bruce and Bobby want to go there and they're little loafers, let them go. And if Disney says, hey, this is awesome, that's awesome. And the state of Florida should be like, great, we love it. DeSantis, a Republican, quiet racist, I rest my case. But here's what's really funny, and this is what DeSantis doesn't remember because he probably doesn't read a book. And he wears those cute little gay white boots when he goes. So I think he could be gay, and it's just a closet thing. But here's what he doesn't remember. In the 70s, I think it was, Governor Askew of Florida put a bill in place that if you're a company in Florida, you're going to pay corporate tax on your earnings worldwide. IBM in Boca Raton, Florida had miles, and I'm talking they had the whole city of Boca, millions and millions and millions of office space, everything. The day they passed the bill, the next day, IBM left Florida. About 6 months later, they called back the bill, and they were saying IBM, we're so sorry, come back, and IBM gave them the middle finger. And DeSantis, because he doesn't probably read a history book, and I think he thinks the earth is flat and 6,000 years old, and he wears his gay little white boots. I think, no offense to the gay people, but it is what it is. I think DeSantis picked a fight with a little mouse that he is going to lose and has no chance of winning, because they've got literally everything they've said. Like all the articles in the Financial Times and the Economist about it are like, this law professor, this one. Even the judges that are Republican are like, dude, it's hard to argue against the mouse when you guys have made all these statements that said freedom of speech should go to corporation. And I'm like, go Disney, kick their friggin' ass. I am so happy for the Disney company. And I'm not a big fan of the mouse or any of it. I just think it was awesome. And once again, Republicans don't know how to read a history book. So
man, and what's the recent history as well? I would have read this article a year ago or so, but wasn't there some special incorporation status of like the whole the Disney World property in Orlando, Florida is not technically part of Florida, but they had to pay like a huge amount of money for that status.
So what they have is they have their own district. It's their own tax district, their own this district. They have their own everything, their own police, fire, board. So when Disney's like, listen, you can say, why can't you say gay? Why can't you teach kids that someone may be gay? What's it? And we're like, no, because I'm a homophobic, racist motherfucker. That's why you can't do it. Good for you. So what he's saying is we're going to revoke this charter that Walt Disney did back in like the 60s or 70s when they bought the 50 billion acres they have.
Yeah.
And so what's happening now is he's like, I want to build a prison. I'm going to make all your roads toll roads. I'm going to put my people on your board. Right. This is what DeSantis is saying. And there was another senator in Florida who said that the bill that they're directing is specifically made for Disney. So one of the constitutional attorneys said that violates, and he gave like a list. He said, so they haven't helped themselves. People are still going. And I don't know if they realize, but and for people that have never been to Orlando is nothing but toll roads. Now, granted, when you get on the Disney property, you don't pay toll. But if I have to pay another $5 in tolls for the $950 one-day pass, you think I care at that point? Who cares? Even if you build a prison next to us, who cares? Disney will just build a higher wall.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I read though that like for the red Florida, even the Republicans in Florida who want to see Ron DeSantis as president, who love Donald Trump, want Donald Trump to be president, but they are like, yay, Republicans, you stick it to those, the
liberals.
Stick them out, stick it to Disney. But now it is, I mean, it's a toss up whether that may happen. But the one sure thing that is happening now, that their tax bills are going up somehow. Right? Because I forget how that worked, but it is indeed it's costing the rest of Florida taxpayers money.
Yep.
It wasn't
not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Fewer services, but
But we've gone slightly off topic today, Greg, because it's all great stuff, But you had something, you had your own little white piece of paper today. You said with stuff written on it, so we're excited.
Yes. Well, first of all, I wanted to say congrats on your 10,000 subscribers, and
you can
stay. He can stay. We'll have him back.
And now it's 11,000. Right?
11,000, yes. Like we talked a couple of weeks ago, we had 10. We have now 11,000 subscribers. So yes, we're very grateful to all our subscribers. So
none of which are Republicans, it would seem. None of which are Republicans.
No Republicans. We have no Republicans.
What's hating Republicans? I know some.
Right.
And that's amazing. I'm at a point where my YouTube channel hit like 15,000, and then went up to like 15,100, and then just froze. And now every week, it's for like a year or two. It's just been like lose a few, but it's right. They say 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I am now 2 steps back, 1 step forward, and still putting new content, not as regularly. Oddly, a real killer for me was during COVID. I took advice and started doing the live stream, or like YouTube Live.
Right.
And I had a channel manager at that point. So, I mean, sorry, this is fun. If you watch Two Old Farts on YouTube, you might notice that they treat it like a TV channel or network, where you get to pick your favorite, whatever. So, I was trying to do that too. One of the channels that I had was like the live stream, channel, but I kept those live streams as like programs, so watch Greg's live stream from 2 weeks ago, Monday, which was very unpolished. It was just a conversation, to like try to replace a kind of a comedy club, experience, just some kind of live performing experience for someone who's kind of a live performer. So, would you want to go back 2 weeks later and watch that? I don't know. And so the upshot was that at some point, a channel manager told me, like, yeah, every time you put up a YouTube live, you lose about 15 or 20 subscribers. Like, oops. I stopped doing that. And anyway, I know how hard it is to have steady growth or even like exponential growth like you guys are experiencing, and it's doing something right. So congratulations.
Thank you. No, we're lucky that we have like you and other people that are willing to come on, whether it's some people come weekly, every other week, monthly, and do their show. So it's like you said, television stations. So out of our 11,000, there's 1,000 people or 5,000, whatever the numbers, that will watch this because cool, Greg's on again, right? Because it says once a month. And then we have other people that'll, like, we have the guy who does Canadian art, and we have new shows coming on this month. So what ends up happening is people find their sweet spot. And so it's like, cool, I'll join. So they may not watch everything. And then it's also funny that we'll get somebody who says, I think I want to come on your channel. And I'll be like, have you seen our shows? And they're like, no, but I've heard about it. So I'm like, here's a list of the shows. You should watch at least one of them, pick one, see, or you can interview by David and you pick. And so it's very interesting. When we hit a certain number, everybody wanted to become our new best friend. So I guess our new best friend will be advertising. So we'll see.
We have the other people, of course, Stephen, the other people who say, don't like the name, guys.
Yeah, two old farts. They don't get they don't get the joke.
I mean, you don't. I mean, really, is that what you're gonna call it? Well, yeah. Do you think anybody's going to watch it? Well, maybe.
I think so.
It's a spin-off hobby, so
like, and now it's like, don't mess with
like my first marriage, really. But there you
go.
Spin-off hobby. Yeah. So what else have you got on your white piece of paper? So
I put out a new a bit of climate good news this past week.
Oh, cool.
And I'm trying to make it, joke oriented, so that it's, quotable, certainly shareable.
Okay.
But
Greg, can I just say it does help if you're a comedian that you got a few jokes in there? Can I just say
you guys are great. I mean, very supportive. Thank you. More than my wife. She's like, hey, it work.
But if you want support in any relationship, just buy a jockstrap. But there you
go. This is the who's had multiple wives.
No, that's too much work. Yeah. You don't want to have multiple wives. Trust me. I always thought if I could have a harem, I'd like, why? One is enough. I love my wife dearly, but one is enough, because if I have to have 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and they get I don't want to say my wife has PM, she has CMS, constant. Anyway, but if I don't care, like most women, they have CMS, not PMS, but it makes no difference. It could be beautiful and sunny, and some little thing will set them off, and they're done. And I've seen her and her girlfriends all get together, and one thing will set them off at brunch, and I'm like, okay, no one's getting laid for a week. So it doesn't matter if you have a harem or not. You could never let them then be in the same building. So
anyway, well, I have digressed because Greg was doing his thing about his jokes and
climate change.
Yeah, sorry.
But fine. Some of the jokes are. I made a joke. I made a dad joke last episode. I talked about how a Swedish firm in Turkey. They've figured out wave power technology. It's literally just they go up, they go down, and then they make electricity that. And if you make it big enough and enough of them, then it actually can generate electricity. So the biggest wave power station in the world is open now in Turkey, and how's it going so far? I said it has its ups and downs. Dad joke alert. It's dumb. It's fine. I mean, hopefully, it's quotable now, and when people say, there's no hope, and even as I've been saying, like, climate good news, because it may be that 90% of the climate news is bad, but if you ignore the 10% that's good, you'll go 100% crazy. So it's for mental health, positive mental health as well. And the IPCC, right, the UN panel on climate said, this is like final warning. We're heading for this point of no return in terms of the climate, temperature, whatever. But they also said, we have all the tools we need to put a on the carbon emissions, to turn around the temperature. And so, yeah, I don't know. Even for people who are commenting on my YouTube channel or social media, you can't even prove that it's humans that did it. And no, personally, I can't. I don't have that science. And let's say you're right. It's not, but that's, who knows whose fault it is. It could be the warmth of Jesus' love.
And you being Jewish, that's a big statement.
The thermostat for the planet. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be a fun argument to debate? Do you want to turn it up or down? We can spend our time arguing about, like, I'm cold. I'm cold.
That would be like a 107-year-old Jewish grandmother. Like, it's a little too cold for me. It's a little too hot. My grandmother would be like, she'd walk into her room and go, is it me or is it hot in here? And she'd go, is it this? Is it? And when she died, we all figured she was going to get up in her coffin and sit up and go, is everyone dead or is it just me? So, I mean, it was like, it was the worst. She was just one of those.
Call me. Yes. Yeah. The classic Jewish grandmother. I'm old, put on a sweater. But yeah, fine. There are so many great projects coming online, to give hope. And what's another one? They're saying carbon could be captured from the air and turned into protein. Now, so like,
I saw that
food out of thin air. You saw it, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. I haven't fact checked it, but I've seen it in a number of places. So yeah, that could happen.
I saw something bizarre this morning as well. What was this? Meta, McKinsey, and H&M are building giant CO2 vacuum cleaners.
Right.
So they're going to spend millions to get this the gas out of the air and permanently put it somewhere.
Well, so yeah. Then what do you do with it? And then you could use it for carbonating your beer, I guess.
People were saying it's greenwashing, and they said, and then the wonderful statement underneath it says it's not greenwashing because there's a large investment fund involved in it.
Oh well, then of course it's real. Oh my God! Yeah. This is going to just be like the meta, crypto algorithms, and all the other crap. They don't do any due diligence. It's the hot word of the day. They're going to throw billions at it, and then it's going to bust like these banks are busting. And you're going to be like, but we didn't know. You're supposedly really smart. Not really. Just because you have money. You're stupider than a box of rocks.
Yeah, but I mean,
what about
I think that the great thing about it was, isn't it a match made in heaven? So you've got Meta, McKinsey, and H&M. I mean, who would have put all that together? It's like an Englishman, Irishman, and a Scotsman going into a bar, isn't it? It's just crazy stuff.
Yeah. It's H&M. Known for what was H&M's latest eco-friendly pitch was you could sell your clothes secondhand, or you could give them back to us, and we will make sure that the textile is reused, and we'll help dispose of our garment responsibly. And then everybody was like, "Oh, that's like circular economy. That sounds good." Except for the part, like, a minute.
Where they sell it back to you, and they sell it at a secondhand store.
How much should I pay for you to take it back off my hands? Next up,
I think I dated someone many years ago that did that. They give you a store credit. No, they give you a store credit. Actually, you give H&M your clothes, and they'll give you they'll be like, "Oh, you gave us 5 pants, a shirt, or whatever it is."
That's
they'll
cool.
Give you they'll give you a $20 store credit.
Has anybody worked out then that how much does it cost to get all this stuff back in? Where they're going to store it? where they're going to transport it to, how they're going to
McKinsey.
recycle it.
McKinsey does that, Dave. That's McKinsey's job to figure it out. She's a
Oh,
lovely girl. I had dinner with her
Okay.
once. She's a beautiful person. McKinsey's like
Okay.
Boston. They're all whores. They're out for
Right.
how much they can charge a client to make money. Let's just be blunt. Like, all these people are like, oh, McKinsey, they're not like the FT sends like questionnaires all the time. Like, what do you think of this consulting? They all suck. Let's just go with it. They're out to make as much money as they can, and that's it.
Stephen,
Yes.
could we just remind our audience of what your profession actually is, or was, or could
I'm
be?
the oldest profession. I'm a male gigolo. Thank you. What am I? I used to be. Now I used to be an investment banker, and now I run.
There you go. Well, that's enough. That's the end of that argument then. So
Yeah. Dude,
no
I'm the one
comments.
who
No
says-
comments about ripping people's money off or doing anything
No.
like that.
Here's what I'm the first one to tell you that. I'm the first one to say that we are the oldest profession. I'm the first one to tell you that we make prostitutes look like angels. I'm all there. I've worked with all these consulting groups. I know what they do, what they don't do. And I get a joke and I laugh my ass off when someone says we hired X. And I'm like, why? We'll be called. Why? It's hysterical. They're out for billable hours. They're not out to really help. And if they do actually help, they're shocked as much as the client's shocked. I mean, you gotta just, the world isn't, it is not the black and white that they would like you to think. There really is a lot of gray. And once you see it, you're just like, oh my God, like we used to deal with governments. I've seen that inner workings. Like there was a point where Germany, Egypt, and Israel Egypt would sell their oil to Germany, and Germany would then sell it to Israel because you couldn't go direct, right? And vice versa. So it's just a game. It's the same reason, and here I'm just going to top this. The same reason that the governments will never let you know that a UFO or aliens are real or multidimensional, whatever you want to go with, because once you know that, you're no longer a French citizen. Well, who wants to be one of those? But anyway, someone in the Netherlands, someone in the US, you become an earthling. And when you have an earthling, you have no control. How do you control an earthling? Because we all know there's something better. And that's, if you think of it in that respect, that's what happened. It's a shell game. Today, we're going to have Russia-Ukraine fight. Next week, we'll have something else. So it's the shell game. And McKinsey and the rest of them, they're just part of the bullshit. Pardon my French.
Well, what about divesting?
Should we include our postal address now underneath for all the all the lawyers for all the lawyers letters now, Stephen?
You can leave your comments there. Once again, this is all David opinion.
Please send all the writs to Stephen Oldfart, please.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll be on your. Greg's just here for the ride. I'll just say
that's right.
Just here for the,
Your Honor.
Your Honor, I don't know. I never met these men in my life. I don't even know who they are. I was drunk. I'm drunk once a month, and for some reason we all talk. There you go. So that's it. Hey, listen, freedom of speech, baby. Walt Disney World's doing it, and guess what? So can I. So here you go.
I have to hear your grand theory that there is no Earth government, so Earth-wide government. Run by lizard people, so that is good. That's uplifting news.
Are you now telling us there's no lizard people? Have I got to check?
No, there's lizard. Again? Oh no, there's lizard people. We'll stick with that. But, what I'm saying is, when these guys go to Davos and whatever, I get a kick out of when they say, "Oh, the economically challenged and this and that." I've sat in these boardrooms. I've talked to these people.
Yeah,
they could give a rat's ass about economically challenged and ESG and all this BS. It sounds good on news. Yeah. It looks good in print. Yeah. At the end of the day, they're worried about how much is my net profit, what's my bottom line, and yada yada. So they don't care. You really think some of these guys do, but for the most part, no, they don't care. They don't even know where the Sudan is. They don't know where half of the countries are that they talk about. So it's how do you, and then you get a consulting group to come and go, here's how we're going to make it better. Oh, okay, make it better. And they'll do a gig and nothing happens. It's like, enough with the BS. Like, you really want to help people? Go back to Nikola Tesla's free energy tower. God forbid we would do that. And and let's get the energy out so everybody can actually be productive and do things. But why would you do that? Because then I can't make money and I can't do this. So we are just a money-hungry society. I'm good with this. I'm a capitalist. I get it. But at the end of the day, we don't really help people. And when we do, we all want accolades. So like if we help people through my family office, we don't say a word. And part of the deal is if we do, you keep your mouth quiet, because if you say anything, we'll stop. Like you don't need to know any good deeds that we do ever. But all these billionaires, to make themselves feel good, need to reach around, whether they're male or female, like Bezos' ex-wife, Kinsey,
Yes.
oddly enough, right? What is
Yeah.
she doing? She's giving away billions. How do we know that? Because she's made sure it's in the press. And I commend her, but why don't you just keep your mouth quiet and go find charities quietly and do it that way? Why do you have to tell everybody you're doing stuff?
Yeah, right.
And I don't
these
get
are
that.
the
I never
billionaires
understood that.
who have a guilty conscience.
Right.
But anyway, no. Hopefully, the beneficent billionaires will indeed save us. And I read another one this past week about the HSBC, one of the world's largest banks so far to divest from new fossil fuel, oil and gas fields and projects. It's the latest sort of version of this headline I've heard. But, when investment funds say they're going to divest, it's interesting. So they're saying we're not going to do this, but then what are they do?
Right.
And so what do you make of that? Is it just, not oil and gas fields, but, we're going to invest instead in shale and some other form of fossil fuel? I don't know. Or is it that they're really going to park more money into, solar and wind and wave power or
they're going to lend all the money to the French government so they can cover the 2-year gap for the pensions.
I guess
that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Just flashed on the screen here from the BBC.
Yeah. They're all trying to look good for the analysts, and they're all trying to look good for their shareholders. So what they're doing is they make these statements. If you go back and watch the statements they make to what they really do, nothing will end up happening. And if they do, they may say they invested more. Sure, they invested 0 in say solar and wind, and now we're going to put 1% of our investment portfolio in it. So technically, I've invested more. So technically, they're doing what they're saying, but a lot of them, it's just like ESG came out. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, ESG! We're ESG." And the SEC got fed up with it. And they go, "If you can't say ESG unless you're actually compliant to it."
Yeah.
So
and what ESG is, for the record, isn't it? What is it? Environmental, social goals,
governance. Environment, social, and governance.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
But
ESG.
and I'm just sort of I'm kind of like, guys, like we don't want stop blowing smoke up everyone's tuchus. And why don't you just fix things and get things done? Like there's a Chinese company that is now the largest EV car maker, I think, on the planet.
Right.
It's called BJ or BU.
No, but
and no one knows about it. BYC.
We do in Europe.
Okay, but in the States, all we know is Tesla. I was reading the Financial Times about how they own the Chinese market, how they own the rest of the world, and now they're going to come to the States. And I'm looking at their cars, and I'm like, oh, beautiful.
Yeah, they were big in they're big in trucks and buses as well. That's they got a big plant here in Holland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, talking about really weird things. I heard something this week. I thought go back to the pension thing in France. Evidently, the very first person to have suggested an age of pensions was Bismarck, and he put the age of pension at 75, saying that anybody who lived older than 75. Yeah, he's the guy. They were probably. So so he, on the one side, like you were saying, Stephen, he did a great thing. You can all have a pension, but you can get it after you're 65.
Wow.
And,
wait, 65 or 75?
Sorry,
no,
75.
75.
And what happened in the 60s in the US is that everybody thought, we've got to do something about pensions. So they lowered it to 65, thinking that nobody would make it.
Right.
And of course, now everybody's making it. 65 is the new 21.
Right.
Oh, thank God. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. So it's what's the saying? If you can't do good, you have to be seen to be doing good. And this whole pension thing and greenwashing and doing the right things for the right people. And we just, there's a majority of people just sitting at home saying, "Oh, that's lovely. I'll open my mouth and you can just, shovel in more."
That's called that's universal income. And to an extent, if you're not going to help people, give them universal. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
universal income's a great idea.
if you're not going to,
That's a great
whatchamacallit, you're not going to make someone a billionaire by it. People that want to be millionaires and billionaires are going to get off their ass and do stuff, but at least make sure everybody can live and
Anyway.
have food. Like you drive through New York, not so much anymore because they shot them all. But in Austin, there's tons of homeless people. I didn't see that many homeless people in Chicago. Florida, I'm like, do something.
Stephen,
You know,
Stephen, I just came back
yeah.
from the UK, from my hometown, Ipswich, and if you can find it on a map, good luck to it. Good luck with it. We've just been promoted, by the way, to the championship football.
Oh, congratulations. Nice.
Thank you very much. It's been a long time. But I'm wandering around Ipswich, and there are people sleeping in shop doorways in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what I'm saying.
The UK.
Help them.
And I'm thinking, oh, no, we can't help them. We can't help them.
God forbid.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Somebody, you know, like.
You can't give them any money because they're off down the offie to buy more alcohol. No, not all of them. But, you know, it's a shocking world we live in. Shocking world we live in.
I mean, like, we can't build like a little, and the problem is if you want to build like a city to put them in, to help them, or a facility, by the time all the graft is done and the bribes are done and all the ridiculous BS, which should cost a couple million, it'll cost 50 million. And it's like, just do something. It's like Reagan kind of screwed this up when he's like, we're not going to take care of anybody anymore. And he kicked everybody to the street. Okay, that's fine. But now we're seeing the aftermath, and then people are complaining. Well, then fix it. Like, a billionaire complains about it. I'm like, what do you have? $26 billion? Take one of your billions. Right. Or well, only if you're a little boy will they help you. But if you have $26 billion, take $1 billion and help them. I mean, just because you're in the top 10 of the richest people in the world. Okay. Nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? It's like enough with this BS. It's like, you're a billionaire. Steven, congratulations.
You mentioned Austin, Texas. I think, what was there a piece about Houston, Texas? And so after the hurricane and the aftermath, I think there was an article, I'll have to find it, but Houston is sort of not the city you would expect to have a better working homelessness sort of policy. But I think there was housing that was, I don't know, there was extra housing. Maybe it had to do with the hurricane and relief, whatever, but just like homeless people and empty homes. Well, okay. Here are the keys, and it worked quite well.
I've not heard that. That's very cool.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, how tough is it?
Yeah. Well, you could ship all the homeless people to Japan because they're all living they're all all going into old age pensioners. Places.
Actually, Ron DeSantis will ship them to Vermont.
And so there's loads of places in Japan. I was reading yesterday, which are empty because everybody's been taken into care because the population is dumped. So there's no young people to move in the houses. So let's just let's do something radical. I mean, years ago we just sort of pick everybody up and ship them to Australia, but now we just sort of take everybody, say like, get off, you go to Japan if you're homeless.
Interesting.
Why not? I'm trying to think outside the box here.
Learn Chinese or learn Japanese. Either way.
I mean, if I had a box, I could sleep with it if I had a box. But
you can sleep. Yes. Oh God. Good. I find this homeless Houston article, and I'll forward that over.
Yeah, if you would, and we'll put the link below so people can read it, so they just don't think we're crazy people. Well, we're crazy.
Unless they find it, and I'll stop.
Well, nobody who watches this show can read anyway, so I wouldn't bother.
Including us. Well, gentlemen, I hate to do this because we can go on for another 2 hours, but unfortunately, we have to call it time because in a little while we have to do another show when Mr. Greg is going to enjoy. And we don't want you to work too hard because you are in France. You could get arrested, and so we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, thank you for saving me.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure to see you, my friend. We look forward to seeing you next month. And everybody, you subscribe and like to the channel. You can, if you have any comments, please let us know. And this not only will be available on YouTube, but it'll be a podcast, so you can hear us. Good luck with that. And then we'll go from there. David, is there an ending, or that's our show?
Well, I was just going to ask Greg what the weather was like in France, because it's pretty cold up here now. So it's
was
it worth the trip?
Yes, the sun is working, but not too hard. And
most French people, like most French people. Okay.
Yes, and on that bombshell, On that bombshell,
it is,
we have to say goodbye.
It's not too hot. Yeah, fine. Thanks.
Oh, here's the ending.
All
This will
right.
be cool. I can't wait to see it.
And,